can always tell when a streak's going to come to an end. You win a couple of games, you probably shouldn't.
There are teams out there that could use that quality of playoff goaltending. All right, Ray, you ready to do this?
Yep, let's go.
Powered by Reb Media in partnership with TSN, it is season 7 of the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, Tim Hortons. The Tim's NHL Hockey Challenge is back. It's in the Tim Hortons app, and you have a chance to win daily and monthly prizes for picking players who you think will score. Plus, there's always a chance to win a new Hyundai Tucson at season end as part of our grand prize. Canadians, you can also try and keep a 7-day streak alive. And if you do, you win a free coffee or tea, your choice. Check it out, timhortons.ca, for a full list of prizes. And for those who enjoy joining us here on the podcast on our YouTube channel, Ray, I'm trying to recognize when I'm looking behind you through the glass. Now, I know you're in Minneapolis. I'm not going to make it up. However, again, because this is a visual podcast, I'm wearing glasses so I can clearly see you or not. And that is a strange occurrence for you because you are a man who needs glasses. What happened?
Vision help. I do need it. And at this current moment in my life, I need more of it. I was in Denver yesterday doing the Canucks game, which, by the way, turned into 1987. Hockey was awesome. It was so fun.
It was, yeah.
Not for Mackenzie Blackwood, but it was fun to do. Anyway, I'm upstairs. I'm not between the benches. I've got a little bit of a challenge because somewhere between the gym and my room at the hotel yesterday, I don't have my glasses. Don't know where they are. I looked everywhere in my room. I went down to the gym a couple of times. John Shorthouse came down. He's like, hey, look, I'll go look with you too. So we looked all over the place. Nothing. Can't find them. So I got to do the game. So Marco Rossi wears number 92. Liam Ogren wears number 93. They're both left-handed. Jeez, that was a tough one. They're on the far side of the ice. I could tell Curtis Douglas apart. He's 6'8", but there were some challenges to it. We got through it pretty good. At one point, I thought this one play was Ogren. Shorty leans over, and he writes in about 4-inch script Rossi, like it was like a billboard. So now I'm in scramble mode. I'm going to go today to the drugstore and hopefully find some readers or something or other, because what I did realize is distance wise, I'm functional. Yeah. But when I'm reading something, no good.
Same.
Good. My font is, I got a 2-line text yesterday. I had to scroll about 4 times to read it by the time I finished with my, it's no good. No good.
No. Now, do you have stylists? Because I technically should wear glasses, right? I should. I'm not over the top, but for driving, I do wear them. I've got a pair in my truck and all of that. However, I got frustrated with wanting to wear them on TSN because I had to go through the dance of Carrie, our stylist, needed to okay the frames and all of that. And
we don't know how they don't care what I wear. They don't care what I wear. I pretty clearly they don't. And I do laugh when we go to I'm on camera about 35 seconds a game, not like you. You're on set. And so like I'm like I don't know. They're like, should I do your hair? I'm like, why? What's the difference?
No. They meant hair, as in singular.
Yeah, it doesn't take them long. And I feel bad for them because they're trying to. The stylists are doing this. It's their work, and they're like, there's not much of a canvas here. Like, just leave it. It'll be fine. I put a headset on anyway.
I used to love that at NBC though, right? Because you'd have these people just hovering over you. Like if you had a piece of fluff or something on your suit, your tie was askew, or your pocket square, any of that stuff. And then, somebody, the floor director would say, okay, we're back in 15. And they'd quickly, whisk your hair in place and then bugger off. And no, we're on. And here we go. Those are
I think what days, right? I think what a stylist should do for me is now, as I see myself on this camera, is get me the old guys uh,
Yeah.
uh, catch things on your glasses,
Yeah.
the little loop that goes around your neck. That's the next step, I think.
Or the click-on ones, still with the
Oh,
loop, but you can separate them and then put them together down below. I love those. That's the next
there,
stage of my life.
as you know, it like there are people that are super vain, right? Like
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
they can't be seen on camera with glasses, but they wear glasses, and
Right.
so there's a couple guys I know they don't like bifocals either. So they have distance glasses and
Oh,
reading
boy.
glasses. And when they do a game, it looks like they're landing a plane. They've got one glass on, then they turn the other one on. And I'm like, why don't you just like get bifocals? They're like, no, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So they sit there with these two pairs of glasses. Hell, if I had two pairs of glasses,
You lose
twice
two
the
pair.
that's twice the things to lose. So this is
Oh,
just
boy.
so we'll see how today goes. We'll see if I can
Yeah.
rectify the spot.
Okay, we're going to get into headlines momentarily, but hey, John Tortorella is back. Obviously,
Yep.
I know, hired by the Vegas, but back
Yep.
in the sense that Darren Millard, who works with the Vegas Golden Knights, he hosts on varying platforms. Post practice,
Yep.
asked Torts if he could share what was discussed in an on ice discussion with Golden Knights leaders, and Torts just said no. Now, he was nice about it. There was a bit of a smile in him just dismissing Millard by saying no. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, that's the nice version of Torts. If it's mid-season Torts, by then he expects you not to ask that question because you know what the answer is, and he's fed up with that question. So he gives you a little bit more of the bite, but pretty clear indication that Torts isn't going to change for anyone, regardless how short his time is in Vegas or otherwise.
I don't know how many 67-year-old people you know. They're not changing at this
No,
point.
fair.
Like that's it. It was almost like the grumpiest coach to ask anything before any game was Randy Carlisle. Like he was the champion of it.
Yeah, he was.
And you'd ask, and then it became just a little game that would ask anyway and say, hey, who's
Yeah,
starting in goal tonight? First of all, I don't know why coaches won't tell you because it doesn't matter.
it doesn't.
I I don't know what these guys think is the big secret because nobody changes their game plan for the goalie. We're
Right.
going to shoot it behind him. That's the game plan. The only time
Yeah.
there was ever a difference, honestly, was when Marty Brodeur played, and back then the goalies could go into the corner to
Yep.
stop a dump in, and so we'd talk about if you're going to dump the puck, try and get it on Marty's blocker side because that way he'd have to either get
Yep.
his body around it or stop it on his backhand. But the scouting report on a goalie is two or three things. It's you're not changing anything about your game plan, but these guys protect it like it's a state secret. And Randy would always go, "Come and watch warm up." All right, Randy. And
Yeah.
then you'd move along, right? Like
Yeah.
so there's still some guys that won't tell you. Now, I get if they don't want to tell you what was said in the group setting, like what Tort said to Darren. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
tell you. But if Darren asked him, what are the lines for tonight? I don't think it should be any secret. Like, I think, honestly, I'm on a little rant here. I think the NHL at 4 o'clock every day, the lineup should be posted like it is in baseball. It should be posted. What the hell's the difference? Like nobody's changing anything at that point
Right.
in the game. That's either superstition or outsized importance that you think you
Yeah.
have on the outcome of the game because you don't.
No, you're right. Okay, let's get into headlines and we'll talk about some of the hockey that we've seen at this point of the week. Headlines are brought to us by the Canadian Brewhouse. Real fans know the move. You arrive early. That's the move. Happy hour at the Canadian Brewhouse runs Monday to Saturday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., starting at $3.99. You skip the couch and hit the Canadian Brewhouse. You're home for every puck drop, every goal, and every cheer. Best fans in town this hockey season, and their house is your arena. So opportunity tonight For the San Jose Sharks, obviously, right? And a big win last night as we record here Thursday morning, 4-3 over the Anaheim Ducks. So San Jose hosts the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, right? Nashville's in LA, Winnipeg is in Dallas, and San Jose has that game in hand. So tonight would be a pretty good night to use that to your advantage, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I find it amazing to try and sort out who really does have a chance and who really doesn't have a chance. And then
Yeah,
some
good
team
luck.
that I some team that I say I think that's it, that they're done. Then they win two
Yeah.
straight and you're like, oh my God, they're right back in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like I had pretty well buried San Jose a week ago. And
Yeah.
now they have a couple of these last minute comebacks and wins. And as you say, they're a game behind, a game in hand and a point behind LA. And how it's an amazing story to me for San Jose. They are
Mm-hmm.
like all those teams at the bottom of that conference. They're aided by the fact that there's no real good team there. They all
Right.
they've all muddled their way to this position. Excuse me. But Macklin Celebrini is having an amazing year. And
Phenomenal.
it is it is easy to forget that he's 19 years old and that they're a developing team. Like
Yeah.
he's in on a crazy percentage of goals that
Hmm.
that the Sharks have. Like I don't have the number. I had it and I lost it. And I haven't updated it, but it's way greater than what you would suspect. And
Phew.
man, they win last night again, 2 goals right at the end of the game, and
Yeah.
here they are. They got a chance. Winnipeg is starting to be worrisome. They've got that feel of, oh, they might have got it. They might have got their stuff together right at the right time. Like
Yeah.
they're back to not giving up very many goals, kind of like the way you would suspect they would
Mm-hmm.
play. And
Yeah.
now they're just, what are they? I'm just looking here. Oh, they're 2 points back of
Yeah.
that thing, of the second wild card. It's really really going to be a crazy race down to the end here.
It is. And then you look at Nashville, right? And it, they're teetering and right now they're in a bit of a
Mm,
skid, bad timing, but a monumental I mean, they're all must wins and it's so cliche,
mm,
but they play Los Angeles. There's just not a bigger game on the schedule
right,
than that one for both those teams. I mean, everybody's
right.
involved, as we've already talked about, but the Preds need to stop a 3-game skid. And it's obvious they need to stop that and could do damage to LA, would do damage to LA with a win, but would also help the other teams involved in the mix with a win.
And of course, everybody else does not care who wins that game. They just hope
Right.
it doesn't go to overtime.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, just no overtime. The other teams, what ends up happening? So there's those. You can go down to the Kraken. So there's 5 teams basically for that one wild card spot.
Yeah.
And so basically what those other teams are all hoping for is, I don't really care who wins. They don't want anybody to get hot and they don't want 3-point games.
No.
That's what you cheer for. And then you hope that you get your games taken care of. I
Yeah.
mean, like that they're all hoping like heck somebody helps them. What is crazy is those 5 teams, they're all double digit minus goals for and against.
Bananas.
Like that's a pretty, that's a pretty weak end of the
Oof.
conference. But I just looked up too because I thought I had this thought. I'm like, oh, I don't think Anaheim's a positive either, and they're in the negative. When Anaheim plays, man, there's lots going on.
There's a
Like
lot.
there
Yeah.
there's a lot. They're kind of fun.
What do you make of the Oilers? They'll host the Blackhawks this Thursday night.
Yep.
Tonight, dare I say, with 7 games left, that the Oilers are shaping into postseason form again.
I, it is, if this happens again, it is amazing. Really.
Yeah.
They stumbled around most of the year, win 2, lose 2, win, because they only won 3 times in a row, a couple of times this year, and um, never really looked like it was coming together. I had a game in Dallas, and they had won 2 straight and played pretty well, And I asked Chris Knobloch, I said, like, does it feel like you're turning a corner? And right away he goes, well, it's 2 games. And they got smashed. They lost 7-2 that night.
Oof.
But this feels different because they're not giving up a bunch of shots.
Yeah,
It looks more like playoff style hockey. And they're still doing it without Draisaitl, which I just think is amazing because he's so good.
agreed.
And so what are they? They're 2 points behind Anaheim right now.
Mhm.
And they've got the regulation win tiebreaker quite significantly. So they're going to
Yeah,
win that. If they finish tied, they're going to get the division because they'll have the tiebreaker.
yeah,
And that would be amazing. Then that drops them into a wild card, a one versus a wild card thing. And then you're like,
yeah,
oh, geez, man, they're gonna get to the second round here. And then who wants to stop them, or who's gonna feel comfortable stopping them if they've got some momentum and Draisaitl's back healthy, and like
Mm.
they're starting to have that look. I don't know. The same questions remain, but they start to look like a little bit different team right now.
Yeah. I checked in on Draisaitl, just a timeline earlier this week, and basically what the Oilers announced when they declared that he was done for the regular season. And that's the hope and that's the expectation that he will be healthy enough to come back for the start of round one of the playoffs. There's no guarantee, but he's progressing. Everything appears to be on track. But as Ryan and others who've reported on this would know, the initial injury, the expectation was that it wasn't going to work out this way. They feared it was way worse and he was done for the year. So the fact that, follow up opinion showed that they didn't need surgery and he can continue to rehab bodes well. But the expectation is he starts game one. But even if he isn't quite ready and he's available early in that series, mid of that series, what a boost that's going to be for the Oil.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always a crapshoot when a guy comes back off an injury,
Yeah.
like he's dealing with that. Sometimes you feel okay, sometimes you don't. Like I still have that image of him hobbling around a couple years ago with that high ankle sprain, and I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
how he did it. He was so good, and you're like, every time he kind of fell, it looked like he needed, a
Yeah.
shovel to lean on to get back up, and so he clearly has some pain tolerance. There'll be some discomfort thing that he's going to have to deal with at some point. And for the Oilers, hopefully they get him back because I mean, it's one of the best five forwards in the game, right? So you're not
Yeah.
replacing him.
Some discomfort in Ottawa as we shift to the east. The Senators will
Mm.
host Buffalo. So Ottawa's goaltending once again front and center. Now, after sitting out in need of rest on the weekend, Linus Ullmark allowed 5 goals on 16 shots Tuesday versus Florida. Um, that story in and of itself, just independently is somewhat remarkable because I do a lot of Ottawa radio pre-games, right? I I guess my expectation was I'm going to look at the glass being half full going into that Florida game now, and I thought that after the weekend, Linus was, there was some bluster after the comments that Travis made, just identifying the guy needed rest, so that's what happened. Um, I thought he was going to be ready and he was going to be part of the answer for Ottawa. And instead, the first 2 shots on goal go in the net. And as I said, he allows 5 on 16. And we're looking at not the metrics of that game, just by and large over the year. And you're like, this team at average goaltending, they'd be a lock in a
Mhm.
playoff spot, an absolute lock. It's incredible. I mean, it does feel like an offseason fix has to be high priority in some way for Steve Stais in the crease.
Well, they had one. They signed Olmark,
Yeah.
signed him to
Now
a
they
free
might
agent
buy him
deal.
out.
That was, I mean, that was supposed to quiet the goaltending search, and it comes off a couple of um, highly successful years in Boston. Um, had never really shouldered a like the 55 game load.
Yeah.
Him and Swayman rotated the year that they had 135 points, and
Yeah.
that seemed to fit really well for what he needed. Uh, I look at that, the Tampa game on the weekend. I'm like, we talked about last time, I was like, where is he? Like, why is James Reimer starting this ultimately important game for them?
Jeez.
Like, where is he? And then he comes back and gives up the 5. And so the same questions that have been there for Ottawa are still there. Who's going to play goal? Who's going to stop the puck? The team has played really pretty good hockey. Outside of Vancouver, they get the worst goaltending save percentage wise in the league.
Yeah.
Like, so you're not even saying if they had top 10 goaltending, if they had the 20th best goaltending, Dregs, the 20th, they'd be comfortably in the playoffs. And they don't. And it's there's that old line that's like starting pitching in baseball. It's not a factor until you don't have it.
Right.
And it's the same with goaltending. If you find a good coach and they always have a good goalie, I would say that certainly helps. Like, look, I think John Cooper, I think he's just among the very best that our generation has seen as a coach. To be able to last so long and in one place, and always seem to have a button to push to keep guys engaged and all that. But he's got Andrei Vasilevsky too. and anytime, and John would probably be the first guy to tell you this, anytime there's a decision in goal, there is no decision.
Yeah.
He just points at number 88 and they don't even think about it again. And certainly that's not the case in Ottawa.
I'll go to the Montreal Canadiens right now. I mean, they've won 6 in a row. Goaltending, Jakub Dobeš was terrific Tuesday versus Tampa Bay, so non-factor there. And Caufield and Slafkovsky just seem to be getting better and better at a perfect time of year for that to happen.
So Cole's got 47 goals. Like that, like nobody scored 50 goals since Vinny Damphus in Montreal in 1993. I think that 92, 93. And so, Caufield and Suzuki play so good together. Slafkovsky is just coming into the part of his career where he's going to start to become more and more and more impactful all the time. The guy is a tank. He's a moose out there. He's got good hands. And it's funny, like there were a lot of people really critical of the Canadiens for their choice. And they remained critical as Slafkovsky played as an 18 and a 19-year-old. And it's hard for them to realize, I think, that the league is frickin' hard. That the Macklin Celebrinis and Matthew Schaefer's, that like Connor Bedard, like those the recent ones, those are just not regular.
Right.
Like, I know they happened 3 years in a row, but like go back through players that are really good players now. And when they tried to play at 18, 19, they were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And that very well could be the case for the group next year or this coming year coming out with McKenna and Stenberg and Reed and Verhoff and Maholtra. Like those are the top 5 pretty much. And like, if they're all thinking they're going to play, or teams that draft them are thinking they're going to play, there's going to be varying bits of readiness for them. But as for the Canadiens, they play a little bit like I remember when I was a kid. And that's like, it's fast and it's a little bit open and it's skilled and they score and they got a really good goaltender. And they've got Jacob Fowler there. Sam Montembeault is just gone. Like he's not even a factor for them right now. It's Dobeš, who's, I don't even know if I get a vote this year. I don't think I do. But if I do, Dobeš will be in my Rookie of the Year voting. Like he'll be on my ballot. He's had a fabulous year. And they've given the Canadiens goaltending, him and Jacob Fowler down the stretch here, 6 straight wins. They're now tied with Tampa. They're 2 points back at Tampa. So they're like, if that Tampa Montreal series is a first round series, or Buffalo Montreal, like, be pretty good stuff, man. It'd be really good
terrific
stuff. Hey, does Marty St. Louis got to get Coach of the Year votes?
I mean, he has to be in that conversation, doesn't he? And I
Yep.
know that,
Yeah.
you mentioned John Cooper. The fact Cooper hasn't
Yeah.
won to this stage of his
Yeah.
career seems wrong. Dan Muse
Yeah.
has done a masterful job. The Lindy Ruff story with the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, there are many, but Marty has to be given some level of consideration, I would think.
Oh, any team that gets to 100 points, I think you have to look at and go, wow, they've had a really great year. And
Yeah.
I don't know the belief was there that the Canadiens were going to go from a playoff team last year to a really dangerous team. And by the way, they're on a trajectory here
Oh, yeah.
that over the next few years, like
Yeah.
they're coming into a sweet spot here. They're a really impressive group.
And still have plenty of assets,
Oh yeah.
organizationally to make a bigger deal or other deals, if they need.
Yep.
We'll see. I mean, every
Yep.
general manager, every club will upgrade. So Leaf fans will challenge the Ray and Dregs podcast and say Dreger buried the lead here. I just feel like there's no reason to rehash the Keith Pelly media availability from Tuesday. I mean, this thing has been chewed on and dissected enough. But I'm going to ask you to put yourself in the role of a candidate as head of hockey operations for the Toronto Maple Leafs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, based on some of the names that I've read on social media, you'd be in my top 3. I'm not even joking.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Ferraro would be in my top 3 with respect to some of the names that are out there.
Yeah.
Mostly just thrown out there by media. I get that. But let's assume that, Ray, you are a candidate. Are you on board with a retool? Or does it have to cut deeper than that?
I first of all, I think that term, that split of hair, is nonsense. You look at your roster, and everybody, even in a rebuild, wants to do it as quickly as they can. There's some factors that will play into that'll be out of your control. What if I get hired and Auston Matthews, first conversation I have is with him? What are your thoughts? What are your, you got 2 years left on your contract. He goes, yeah, I'm not signing here. Like, what if he tells
Yeah.
you that? Well, then guess what? You move from retool to rebuild.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be a factor there that you don't know the answer to yet. I would align myself, A, because I believe in it, but B, also because I think it's necessary in the world of sport today. Is you have to have a deep understanding of the way to use analytics to improve. I think people think that's the way the team looks on the ice. I'm talking organizationally, and the way that
Yeah.
you would put together, the way you scout, the way you travel, the way you rest and recover. To not the data that's available would be nonsense. When I hear old guys, if that means they're not tapping into the wealth of knowledge that's sitting there, I think they're nuts. So that would be part of my projection. And rebuild or retool, I need to ask a couple of questions first before I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Because how would you know? I would have a plan. I would think that the Leafs have to become more skilled. They have to become quicker again, because I think they've gotten a little plodding in the way that they've put their team together. And how do you do that? We don't have a lot of draft picks. We don't have a lot of youth in the system. We don't have um, uh, assets that maybe are going to bring these young players in. And maybe the one thing hanging over it is there are no free agents to come and rescue the day.
Oh.
So I think, again, I think it's fantasy to say you can turn the Leafs around quickly into a
Yeah.
year-over-year contender. I think that's going to be really hard to do, but I don't think, if Matthews wants to stay and Nylander wants to stay, I think that changes the entire equation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a curious process. And as Pelly acknowledged, they're going to bring in a search firm first to manage it. Okay, we can understand that. But when you say head of hockey ops, what are you looking for? A president, a GM, one guy to do both? How do you hire a GM and then a president?
Well, you can't. I mean, unless the president is just your front-facing guy that's going to do the media and like that. That doesn't, to me, that would say that your general manager has more sway than president. And if that's the way you want to do it, fine. But if you draw a piece of paper out, you would have the president on top of the chair that the GM sits in. Here's the thing with a search firm. They're basically doing what AI does.
Mm-hmm.
You're feeding in the parameters.
Right.
Because otherwise, what's the search firm going to do? What are they going to ask?
Right.
They like their vision of what good leadership would be might not be what my leadership, if I'm Keith Pelly, what I think about. So I have to feed them the parameters so they can do the interviews that is going to weed it down to, I don't know, 5 candidates.
Yeah.
And it's a big job. It's a high pressure job. It will not be an easy job.
Oh boy.
Like it just won't. Like when I read, they've got to see if they can find a way to get Morgan Riley to waive. Okay, so let's say that does happen. And Morgan says, okay, I'll give you 3 teams that I'll go to. Because he's not going to give you the full league. Like that's not going to happen.
No.
Why would he? So what do you think that team that you call is giving you back?
Not much.
Right? Because they're like, oh, why are you calling me? He's got a no trade. Oh, I'm one of his 3 teams. Well, guess what? That's not your. So it's not like you're rebuilding on the fly if you move out a couple of contracts.
No.
The ones that you might think of that you should. And so it's, again, it's way easier to sit here and say, oh, I hear this a lot. I would do this and I would do that. Well, you know what? You might not be able to.
Yeah.
And Keith Pelly better be prepared that I might not be able to gets to be the first road that you're on.
Mm-hmm.
You might not be, whoever they hire, brilliant guy or not, might not be able to get this whole chain started as quickly as you want. I think there's a great chance that that's not understood.
I agree. All right. Well, those are your headlines. Thank you to the Canadian Brewhouse.
It feels like Tim Hortons has always been part of my routine, certainly as a dad, as a coach, or taking my kids to the early morning hockeys. Had to go through the drive-thru and get my cup of coffee and get the Timbits for the kids. Can I get a medium coffee with milk, please? Then even driving into studio now at TSN. If I don't go through the drive-thru, get my medium coffee with milk, I feel like my routine has been interrupted.
Here's your coffee.
Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.
You too. Only way to start a day.
Let's bring in Ryan Rishaug, our weekly visit. Ask Ray and Dregs anything, and I'm sure, interesting, there's Ryan.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the same splashy home studio background. Looks like mom's basement. That's what it looks like to me, but I'm not.
So mom's basement has kind of a negative connotation to it. Like like it's all is lost and you're at the end of your row. That's not the case. My mom's basement is great. It's nicely finished. The beds are comfortable. It's great. And so while we're having a few renovations done at the house, she lives a couple blocks away. My wife and I just staying in my mom's basement for a week or 2. I don't know why everybody's making such a big deal of this. You wander around, you find all sorts of cool stuff. Like she was showing me some pictures. There's me. I was a little kid there, a little bucket on my head. I was really
looks
positive.
Like a big soup pot.
Like thumbs up, right? Like I was very positive.
You were cute. You were a cute kid there. You're a cute kid there. You know what I think, you say.
Hair. Look at the hair.
Oh.
Sketchy haircut. Mom did those haircuts, by the way. That's Donna.
Is that a cowlick?
Yeah.
Hey, we all got pictures like that where mom trimmed it up right before class photos, and you're like, she would have gone. Yeah, no. no time. Let me just clip this up. You'll be good.
I appreciate you going on Edmonton radio, Dregs, and just announcing to everybody that Rishaug was living in his mom's basement with no context, no anything. I had friends reaching out like, dude, are you okay? Like, do you need a place? Is everything okay in your world? Like, you just threw me right under the bus in my city.
So I don't think they were listening closely. I think I did say that I didn't believe it was maritally related. That's what I said.
Well, I do, you say like, the negative connotation, like lots of 50-year-olds say, hey, Mom, can I bring my wife back home? Like lots of people say that.
It's been great, honestly. Like the breakfasts have been amazing. You feel at home. It's all worth the 10:30 curfew that I have. It's totally worth it, and it's great being home. Let's get to a couple of these. You guys yacked on about the Leafs for so long, you made me late for practice, so we're going to get through this quickly. Real simple one here from Johnny. Can the Sabres win the Cup? So a hopeful Sabres fan asking Ray, do they have what it takes? Like, where do you put them among the pantheon of contenders?
I do not think they can win the Cup. I think it would be shocking for a team that's literally a first-year team to get 4 series right. Like I just think there always seems to be, you get knocked off track a little bit in your first year or two when you get in. I like the Sabres a lot. It's pretty clear that they would scare a lot of teams, but 16 wins, I'm going to say, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree with you. Great story. I mean, they've been a terrific story for much of the year. There's no doubt about that. It feels to me, and we don't know anything. I mean, we're looking into a crystal ball here. It feels like the Cup is going back to the West with Florida being dispatched here. The good play of Colorado, Dallas, this could be their year. And I don't know, maybe Torts can figure out the Vegas Golden Knights. So I just don't see Buffalo being there.
Okay, another one for Ray. This one comes to us from Jason Wilkie. I know Ray's been broadcasting for a long time, but I am wondering when he started, how long did it take to get the more colorful locker room talk that is not television approved out of your vocabulary? Been listening to the pod since day one. You guys helped me get through the pandemic. Thanks for entertaining and educating us. Well, I can tell you, Jason, that he has not completely eradicated that thought process and language. You should see the Ray and Dregs chat, and you should hear us before we go live.
Yeah, I'm hoping soon that I'll get it. There is a way and a cadence when you're in the room that is like just the way you talk, and every once in a while, if I get around a bunch of buddies, like you just kind of slip right back into it, and you're like, oh yeah, that that sounded a little different than might normally be. And but on the air, early on, there were a few times where I was like, the thought that came to my head was I had to re-gear, and
can't do that.
No. Can't do that. Can't say that. There is a change for sure. Some of it I like to think is maturity that's slowly coming on.
Yeah.
Jeff O'Neill for me is exhibit A of this, right? Like, I mean, we've all been around the O-Dog, but we're watching games on the main panel, off air, obviously off camera, and he'll be telling story after story, and you're just shaking your head in disbelief. And it might be about a play that reminds him of something that happened when he played. And then, you can't say that. And he just finds a way to get his point across without taking it into the area that he just did 10 minutes earlier when we were off air. It's an art.
All right, last one here. This one came to us actually during our YouTube stream during our last show. It is from Isildur. Ray, did you ever step on the blades of sticks in the corner fighting for the puck and break sticks? I always wonder about that. It was all wood sticks back in the day, so no harm, no foul. Was that ever a thing, Ray? You stomp on a guy's stick while you're in battling?
No, I mean, not that I can. Here's part of the problem. So wood sticks, if you were stomping on somebody's blade, right, if you had that in your head, you most likely won't break his blade, but you'll screw up your skate. Now, we would go back to the bench, and you couldn't get new steel like the guys do now.
Right.
The trainer would come down with that little, 4-inch stone, and they'd try and stone the burr out of your skate. And if you started spinning around on the ice like you can't, you'd have to go back to the dressing room and get your skate sharpened. You'd miss half a period. Like, so no, I never even thought of that.
Feels like a Dregs move. Feels like a greasy little Darren Dreger move.
What about sawing them? Did you saw buddy sticks like a third
always.
or halfway? Always.
So what you would need to do is, so on the wood sticks, there for style, there used to be those stickers about 3/4 the way down. So it'd take a little work, and you'd take the sticker off, and then you'd saw about 2/3 the way through under the sticker, and then put the sticker back on top of it. And so when they'd go and test it out, it'd snap it in half. And if you were good, you could get 2 or 3 in their stick rack, and pretty soon the guy's late for practice. And like, it's just like so stupid, right? But you're like, oh, I just cut 4 of my buddy's sticks. Isn't that the best? Yeah, I love that stuff.
All right. That was Ask Ray and Dregs Anything. We appreciate everybody's contributions. I got to go warm up Mom's car. I'm going to take it to work today. And I'm going to leave you with this thought, gentlemen. Just because somebody maybe isn't able to pick goal scorers on a given night or do great in the Tim's Hockey Challenge doesn't mean they're not a good, solid hockey person with a good hockey mind. I'm just going to leave you with that, and we'll talk next week.
Hey, Ryan.
All right, buddy.
Maybe I think really you should let Mom pick next Tuesday. You really should.
Yeah. Couldn't get much worse. Another 0 for week.
Don't be afraid to buy some groceries.
Right. See you guys.
All right. All right. Obviously, he's trying to get out to get to an Oilers skate, but he was also providing this segue to the Tim's Hockey Challenge. I believe, in looking at the Ray and Dregs chain this morning, Ryan sent an icon or an emoji, Zuby, as we bring in Chris Sabunia. Like he went 0 for 3. Is that correct? But what was the emoji? It was just a hand on head type of thing.
Yeah. Shoot. Now I can't even think of what the.
Yeah. I looked
sort
at
of the
quickly,
shake my head, but it includes a slap to the face. So
yeah,
I forget. What
I think what it means. I think what it means is, man, I suck.
Yeah.
I think that's what it means.
That would be
So Rishaug goes 0 for 3. However, I buried the lead once today.
Where's the news here? Where's the news?
Exactly, with the Leafs in the headlines. I'm not going to do that to our good friend Ray, who did what on Tuesday, Zoob?
Simple 1, 2.
We got a race here. He had a 3 for 3 clutch and on a game, on a day where we're keeping track too. He had a 3 for 3 with Zach Hyman and the Kapanen twins.
No, those are for today. Those are my picks for today.
Oh, I'm giving away your picks for today. Oh yeah.
That's
wow.
I found it. I found tough today. Tough ones today. I thought.
Today's a loaded slate too. Anyway, so Ray, who got you your big 3 for 3? Because that was
you know what? I can't look at my phone. I'm Nylander for sure because he got one in Anaheim. I believe. I thought I had a Drew O'Connor, but that might have been 2 times ago.
Yeah.
Because he's not in our third bucket. I would have gone with him today too, Zuby.
We'll have to review the tape. Did you have Dylan Holloway? I think we talked about that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. And I forget who my middle bucket guy was, but 3 for 3, I got to tell you, it's really, as you know, Dregs. I mean, Ryan wouldn't know, but it's a good feeling.
No,
it really is.
It is a great feeling. It's a great feeling. So where are we at now, Zuby?
And I'm not rooting, but I'm rooting for it to go down to the wire. So I'm not rooting for Ray. I'm not rooting against Dregs. But we're within 4 now. So Dregs got 1. He's 40 out of 117. Ray with his 3 for 3 gains 2 on Dregs up to 36 for 117. Ooh. So only 4 separating you guys. It's as close as Ray's been since, I don't know. So I have all the stats, but I think it's going back to December here.
Wow.
That anyone's.
But you know what the problem is? We're well aware it's April the 2nd. There's not a lot of time left.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of time. But so let's just have a look here.
You might need 1 more of these, Ray. If you had 1 more of these.
I agree. Yeah, I
then
do need
we
a big
really
one.
have something.
But you've established who you've got going into Thursday night's games.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got Hyman and the Kapanens, right?
Yeah.
This bodes well for you because, often we'll share. Like we're all picking from the same three buckets, right? So there will be crossover. I've got Nylander, Iafallo, and Jake Evans. So no duplicates. So there's
I
opportunity
like that.
here. Yeah, it might help you out. May
But
not.
yeah, it might. I have to say, or it could go completely south. One of the two. But by the way, if people have not really tried to do this, you should, because it's really fun. It
is fun.
I love doing it. I love checking to see if my guys scored for the night, not just for the contest. It's like, oh, I hope I got one today. So I encourage you, check it out. The Tim's Hockey Challenge. It's really fun.
It's fun. It's fast. It's easy. It's free. Get a group of friends together, and you can have your own little sub challenge going on instead of chasing some of these people somehow that are doing it at like 40 and 50%. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun to follow all year, and this is going to be close. I'm excited for this to go to the wire.
Right down to the wire. All right, Zuby. Thanks, buddy. There's Chris Sabunia wrapping up our Tim's Hockey Challenge for another week. Looking forward to next Tuesday, and we can refresh what went down on this Thursday. Okay, so you're in Mini, and then back to Vancouver land on the weekend?
No, I'm going from so I was in Denver last night for the 8-6 Canucks win. Mackenzie Blackwood, tough night in goal there. But man, that was fun. Now I'm in Minnesota, so the Canucks come here for first game against in Minnesota against Quinn Hughes. So that's one of the toughest back-to-backs, Denver to Minnesota in the league that you'll run into. And then I go on to New York. I got a couple games in the Rangers are at home twice this weekend, Detroit and Washington. And between then, I hope to find a pair of glasses that can help me, see what the hell I'm looking at.
You're well connected. You've got people,
Yeah, but they could give you glasses, but they got to be able to help you.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Guerin's got to know some people in Mini. You're like, just get in.
I'm just going to walk down to the
Shoppers
drug. Yeah, just see. Yeah. It's not Shoppers in Canada, but
it's not Shoppers.
I'm in the States, so I don't know. It's whoever it is down the street, they got to have something.
Yeah, get the stylish ones. Like these are just basic black, but get like some electric blue or purple or something. Right?
That really fits me, doesn't he? That really fits me.
Yeah. I want to see it pop. All right, well, good luck with that. Send us a picture.
Yeah, I will not do that. Have a good couple of days, and have a good weekend, Dregs. We'll talk to you next week. And everybody, thanks for listening again.
Yes, thank you to our sponsors who continue to support the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast. Tim Hortons, our title sponsor. Thank you, and thank you, Canadian Brewhouse. Until next time, stay safe, everybody.